Lesson 15. In this lesson, you will learn how to talk about plans.
The conversation takes place at Naomi's apartment, a student at Innovative University.
The conversation is between Oksana and Naomi.
The speakers are friends, therefore the speakers will be speaking casually.
Let's listen to the conversation.
I can't believe Margot. That makes me so mad.
I bet.
He will pay for that.
Pay? How?
I'm not sure. But if we don't do something, many other girls will suffer.
That's true. He tried to invite me too. I will help you.
Thanks, Oksana.
My pleasure. I know. We should talk with Yuki and Vicky also.
Good thinking, Oksana. Vicky's your roommate, right? Do you know where she is now?
I do. She will be in Professor Brooks' class until noon.
Let's go wait for her. Then we will find Yuki too this afternoon.
Wow, Naomi. I will remember not to betray you.
Let's listen to the dialogue one more time slowly.
I can't believe Margot. That makes me so mad.
I bet.
He will pay for that.
Pay? How?
I'm not sure. But if we don't do something, many other girls will suffer.
That's true. He tried to invite me too. I will help you.
Thanks, Oksana.
My pleasure. I know. We should talk with Yuki and Vicky also.
Good thinking, Oksana. Vicky is your roommate, right? Do you know where she is now?
I do. She will be in Professor Brooks' class until noon.
Let's go wait for her. Then we will find Yuki too this afternoon.
Wow, Naomi. I will remember not to betray you.
The first word is
Mad,
angry.
mad, mad.
The next verb is
To suffer,
to feel pain or distress.
to suffer, to suffer.
Next we have
Pleasure,
state of feeling very gratified.
pleasure, pleasure.
And now we have
I bet,
of course, definitely.
I bet, I bet.
The next word is
To find,
to locate, to come across after searching.
to find, to find.
And now we have
Roommate,
person living in the same room, apartment, or house.
roommate, roommate.
The next word is
To invite,
to request the attendance of.
to invite, to invite.
And now we have
Noon,
midday, 12 o'clock p.m.
noon, noon.
Next we have
To wait,
to be in a state of expectation.
to wait, to wait.
And the last word is
To betray,
to mislead, to disappoint expectations.
to betray, to betray. In Lesson 6, we learned about the simple aspect. In this lesson, we focus on the combination of the simple aspect and the future tense. This combination is usually called the simple future tense. In Lesson 6, we explained that the simple aspect's core meaning is unchanging. That is, the event that we are talking about is thought of as a complete whole and not as an event that we expect to change. The simple future is used to talk about events that have not happened yet or may happen after now. Chihiro, how about an example?
Sure. When we talk about tomorrow, we usually use the future tense, as in, I will eat a hamburger for dinner tomorrow. Will eat is the future tense of eat. In this lesson, we can be a little more specific. We will look at the core meaning of the future tense and the different ways it is used.
One thing we need to point out is that there is more than one way to talk about the future in English. One reason for this is that there is actually no true future tense in English.
Right. Usually, we use either the modal, will, before the main verb, or we use the phrase, going to. For now, let's focus on using will to talk about the future, and we will refer to it as the future tense. To make this, we take the dictionary form of the verb and add the modal will before it. Daniel, can you explain the previous example?
Sure. In the sentence, I will eat a hamburger for dinner tomorrow, we see that the verb is will eat, which is made up of the main verb, eat, with the modal will before it.
The core meaning of will in the future aspect is predictability. In other words, will is used when we think we know what will happen in the future. We saw before that the present tense is used to talk about immediate facts. In contrast, the future cannot be known as facts. We can, however, make predictions, often with some certainty. So let's combine the core meaning of will with the core meaning of the simple aspect to see the meaning of the simple future tense.
Okay, let's look at examples from the dialogue to see how the simple future is used. In the dialogue, Naomi tells Oksana about Marco.
He will pay for that.
In this phrase, she means that she predicts that he will suffer for what he did. The reason she makes this prediction is because she is planning to help it happen. Since she is making a strong prediction and not talking about a fact, she uses the future tense. And since the event, that is, Marco's paying, is considered as a whole event, she uses the simple aspect. This is the most common use of the simple future, that is, to make strong predictions about future events. Often, this function of the simple future is used with specific times, although that is not the case in our example. An example of this is, I will take the test tomorrow, since tomorrow is a specific time.
Another example of the simple future in the dialogue is when Oksana tells Naomi,
I will remember not to betray you.
Oksana sees how angry Naomi is at Marco and does not want Naomi to ever be angry with her. So, she uses will to predict her future behavior. She also uses the simple aspect of remember because remembering is a state that will not change. Therefore, the simple future can be used to talk about future states or habits.
Good. The next example from the dialogue is when Oksana tells Naomi about Vicky.
She will be in Professor Brooks's class until noon.
Oksana predicts that Vicky will be in class because she knows her schedule. But of course, she doesn't have 100% certainty because it hasn't happened yet. So, she uses will to make her strong prediction. But since she is talking about the class as a complete whole, she uses the simple aspect. In this case, the event has already begun, but the end is just scheduled. So, the simple future can be used to talk about events that are true now that have an ending point in sight.
Here's one more example. Naomi tells Oksana,
If we don't do something, many other girls will suffer.
In this sentence, Naomi is predicting what will happen based on a condition. That condition is shown in the phrase, if we don't do something. Because the result depends on the condition, it cannot be known as a fact, but only predicted. So, Naomi uses will to show the future tense. And, because she talks about the event, the suffering of many girls, as a whole event, she uses the simple aspect. So, the simple future can be used to make predictions based on future conditionals.
All right, let's review briefly. We use the simple future to make predictions about future events, especially with reference to a specific time. We also use it to talk about future states and habits, present events with the future end in sight, and to make predictions based on future conditionals.
And, as we have seen in the last several lessons, by focusing on the core meaning of the aspect and the tense, we can recognize the differences in meaning and use.
Also, be sure to review the audio and notes for Lesson 6.
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
I can't believe Margot. That makes me so mad.
I bet.
You will pay for that.
Pay? How?
I'm not sure. But if we don't do something, many other girls will suffer.
That's true. He tried to invite me too. I will help you.
Thanks, Oksana.
My pleasure. I know. We should talk with Yuki and Vicky also.
Good thinking, Oksana. Vicky's your roommate, right? Do you know where she is now?
I do. She will be in Professor Brooks' class until noon.
Let's go wait for her. Then we will find Yuki too this afternoon.
Wow, Naomi. I will remember not to betray you.
Practice with the review track.
Mad,
Angry,
to suffer,
to feel pain or distress,
pleasure,
state of feeling very gratified,
I bet,
of course, definitely,
to find,
to locate, to come across after searching. Person living in the same room, apartment, or house.
roommate,
To request the attendance of.
to invite,
Midday, 12 o'clock p.m.
noon,
To be in a state of expectation.
to wait,
To mislead, to disappoint expectations.
to betray,